Well, welcome YouTube friends and family to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader. And if you're new to my channel, first I want to say welcome. We have quite a few new subscribers, but if you're not subscribed, I'd love to have you as part of the channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And those of you watching, if you will, go ahead and smash that like button for me. That greatly helps my channel. So today I thought we would do a little of this and a little of that. I just realized my plant's showing. Oh dear. That one's kind of got a wild hair here. Oops, well, not anymore, right? So I have a gas whole house generator, and I think I've shared with you all that I had not had a power outage, but when I did have a power outage, my generator would not run. And it was determined that I have a faulty engine, a defective engine with no oil pressure in the engine. So it's been a great company to deal with. Wells Electric, which is local to me, will be out today to replace the engine. So they have to tear the whole generator down, rebuild it. So that's going on today. And I thought I wasn't going to have any power. And guess what? They said, oh, wait, no, you will have power because we don't have to wire anything except the engine. So that's great news. So this morning I went to the Dollar General. And I know there's a lot of buzz about, the supply chain issues and just lack of product. And I have to tell you all, I am starting to see the change. I hadn't seen the lack of items on the shelf in my area until today. I talked to one of the employees and they said, oh yeah, because of the pandemic. And of course I didn't contradict them. I just let them say that. But I was amazed at what they didn't have and lots of empty shelves. Our Dollar General recently remodeled, and they're definitely trying to compete with Dollar Tree on their prices. And now it's much bigger grocery area. So I always take a look, and I was actually on the hunt for some seeds. I'm having trouble getting my pumpkin seeds to germinate. They're brand new package. I don't know why. And I've had problems with several of my Baker Creek seeds this year where I've had to replant, and I don't understand that. So drop me a comment below. Have any of you had problems with germination rates on your Baker Creek seeds this year? I'd be very interested to know. So I want to share my unhealthy haul with you. I don't know what else to call it. But what I did is I went through and I picked things that A, I needed, and B, I knew were at a better price than what was at Walmart when I did my last shopping. So let me tip you down just a touch. You don't need to see me to do this. So the first thing that I did buy was one of the waffle weave kitchen towels. I don't like terry cloth towels because of the lint, pardon me. And this was $2.50, but it's perfect for my new kitchen colors if I ever get my kitchen redone. So that was one purchase. Kind of bad for you purchase. I had a dream about Pop-Tarts last night. And this is the 12 pack for $3.65. This is like when I'm really jonesing for a dessert, this will satisfy me. So yeah. And in case, I don't want to make a big deal out of this, in case y'all are wondering why I'm jonesing for Pop-Tarts. I went to the doctor last week and my weight is up. It's up and down, guys. If you watch the channel, you see that. And so I've been told to diet. So I'm trying to do good on it. And I have lost some, but I have a long way to go. All right, enough about that. Then I had to get my favorite cleaning product, the Pin Allen in the floral set. I used all my Pin Allen up at my mom's cleaning her house, and that was $3. And guys, I water this down. It goes a long way. This is a great value, and it doesn't, it smells really good, and it doesn't have that real chemical smell to it. So I like using this for general cleaning, like countertops. I use it in the restroom, etc. All right, remember my gripe about the Suddenly salad? I found the 2-pack, and the twin pack was $3.50, so that would have made it $1.75 instead of the two whatever. I ended up paying $2.45. I think I paid at Walmart. So this goes in my long-term pantry. We're going to do a project today. So I needed some paper baking cups. These were $1. And then, guys, baking soda. Have you noticed the weird prices on baking soda? So this is the 4-pound box. It was $2.25, which is up from what it was, say, 6 months ago. But at Walmart, it was $4 something. And I was like, yeah, no, I need the cheap stuff. So Dollar General has Clover Valley, and I have used this. I use it for cleaning. It's great for whitening your teeth, you know, just brushing your teeth with after you've used your regular toothpaste. I use it in some of my Bath and Body products, so I was really happy to find this. So let me put all this away, and then we're going to get started on a little project because it's supposed to be warm today in Ohio. I'm hoping to get outside, get my water barrel set up, and I also want to bring out my fire ring. So I thought I would make some fire starters. So stay tuned. So let's make some fire starters for those spring bonfires, or in case you were to have an electrical failure and you need to do some outdoor cooking. It's always great to have fire starters because you never know what the outdoor conditions are going to be like. So what do we need? And first, before we start, I want to give a shout out to Becky over at Acre Homestead. She's like a master gardener, but she and her mother made these, and I've made them before, but with a little different slant on it. So I'm going to try her method today, and this is so economical. I was looking today when I went to Dollar General, and for a little tiny pack of fire starters, which just look like wax dip cotton string almost, and they were tiny. It was really expensive. It was like $3.85, and these are much larger. So the ones at the dollar store were smaller than this. So let me show you what we're going to do. So the first thing is I've protected my surface, and you could use newspaper, you know, whatever. I'm just using freezer paper because that's what I happen to have on hand. I have a very old cookie sheet that I don't plan to cook with, so this is a dedicated wax sheet. I've put inside the paper cupcake liners, and again, these were $1 for 90 at the Dollar General. I was misspeak. So let me see if I can do this without making y'all dizzy. Ready? Around we go. So what do I have over here on the stove? So I do make candles. So I have lots of wax, etc. But I don't own a double boiler, but this works just fine. So I have a pan of boiling water, and inside here you can see I am melting wax. So let me grab the wax that I just happen to have on hand. And I am using from Brambleberry Eco Soy Advanced Soy Wax. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, I wouldn't spend the money for that. Just use old candles, a cheap wax that isn't of such great quality. The reason I'm using this, number one, is because I had it. Number two, it's unscented. Number three, it's soy, and I'm going to burn these only outside. And being allergic to soy, I can no longer make candles from soy because it gives me a problem. Anything you use, guys, and this is a candle wax melting vessel, needs to be dedicated solely for wax. You don't want to try to reuse it for food. And even though this looks like a good spoon, it was my grandma's, and she would approve. My grandma made a lot of soap, and she did it the old-fashioned way with ashes, getting her lye from ashes. It was a whole process. So she wouldn't mind that I'm using her spoon. The other thing is, and I don't have it, you want to put this on something disposable like a paper towel or paper plate. So let me get organized here while this wax continues to melt, and we'll get started making our fire starters. The next item you're going to need is some wood shavings. So you can buy at Walmart really inexpensively. I did get this on Amazon because I did the math, and by the time I drive clear to Walmart and back at the price of gas, it was cheaper on Amazon for me. So, another point, and this is so true, and they brought this out in the video, and I'm like, why did I not think of that? These wood shavings will grind into the carpet. So if you have like throw rugs, take them out of the kitchen. So I'm on bare floor here. So what you want to do is hopefully not make a mess, and it's very compressed. So this may be a little bit messy, but that's okay. You want to start filling pretty full your cupcake liners with this wood. Yeah, I'm getting plenty in there, you think? So I'm going to continue on getting all 12 filled up. And then we will see if our wax is melted, and we'll get started with our first wax pour. One thing that I always did differently, and this was largely because I kept bees for many years, so I always had beeswax on hand. I always use beeswax, which, guys, I have a little tiny bit left, which I'm saving for a Bath and Body product for myself because I no longer am keeping bees, at least not right now. The reason I use beeswax is beeswax has a very, very high melting point. So if you were trying to start a fire in really wet conditions, or your wood was a little bit wet, it really worked well because it burned and burned and burned and burned and burned. But you can use old candles. I have done that. I have used like regular paraffin. Any kind of wax just about will work. So you can just take your candles and throw them in there. One caution, if you're using it to start like a wood fireplace in your house, if you use scented wax, it can be a little bit smelly. So I have always used unscented for that reason. But this is outdoors, so I think it would matter less. I doubt it would flavor your food if you're cooking over the fire, but I guess that's a possibility. So maybe use candles like tapers that are unscented, or candles that are kind of beyond themselves and no longer really are holding their scent. So we just about have our 12 filled up. Just about. And I haven't made a huge mess, guys. You proud of me? All right. I'm going to call that a little overfilled on some, but pretty good. Let me grab the wax and I'll show you what we're going to do. All right. So what you want to do is go ahead and pour a little wax in each. And the reason I love this candle making pitcher is because it has a pour spout. So let me show you that. It has a pour spout. So I'm not dribbling everywhere. It's not messy. If you don't have something like this, or an old container that you can use, metal container that can take the heat, my suggestion would be take a can, you know, like a vegetable can or a metal coffee can, and use that instead. And then you can kind of bend it to make a spout. All right. So that was all of my wax. So I'm going to start melting some more wax. I'll bring you back in just a few minutes to show you. That has to cool off just a bit. What we're going to do next. Stay tuned. This has cooled off just a little bit. And you'll notice I have put a glove on, not for sanitary reasons since this is going to burn, but because the wax will get on your hands, under your fingernails. So throw a glove on and that will really help. I can tell some of these are way too dry and I should have put more wax. What you want is when you squeeze, the wax comes up, because we're going to add even more. Yeah, the ones in the back, I did a little better job. We're going to add even more of these wood shavings to really build up a nice large fire starter, so we don't end up with a dollar store size starter. So as y'all can well imagine, this entire bag was about $6. It's much cheaper at Walmart, let me tell you. It's probably half of that. And $1 for the cupcake papers and a little bit of wax, particularly if you're recycling old candles. What an economical way to make a fire starter. So I'm going to top off the ones that have enough wax, and then as my wax melts, I'm going to add more wax and do another layer. And then I'm going to do a second set because I want to show you a way that you can pretty them up. Who knew fire starters could be pretty? But they can make a great gift for the camping enthusiast, just for people who like to be prepared and maybe never thought about this, about, you know, what would I do if the power went out kind of a thing. So I think it makes a nice gift, and you can make them kind of cute. Who knew a fire starter could be cute, right? All right, we're getting there. So you see it compresses quite a bit, and I will pour more wax over all of this, even the ones I've topped off. But I don't want to top off the ones that didn't have enough wax to start with. So I think we're about done with as much as we can get done for right now. So let me finish these up. I'll bring you back to show you the final product on this batch, and then we're going to start a second batch. So we have our first tray of fire starters finished, and I did pretty good till the very end, and then I slopped. If you get one of your cups like too full of wax, which I did here, just add more wood shavings to soak that up. And I didn't mention I'm using aspen, which is from the aspen tree. This says it's kiln dried, virtually dust and scent free, hypoallergenic, and do not contain potentially harmful aromatic oils. And you know, that's related to a pet, but I think it's important if you're going to be breathing it in, or if it's in your environment, that what you're putting into these is healthy, especially you don't want to get things in your food. If you're using candles, I will give you one key, and here's why you need a glove, guys. You do want to make sure that you, excuse me, that you chop your candles up if you want your wax to melt faster, but it's not a requirement. Leave some wax in your wax pot, and anything you add to will definitely melt faster. So I only have one dedicated cupcake tray. I'm gonna pop this into the freezer. Soy wax is a very soft wax, so this will take forever in a metal tin to actually solidify, and I wanna get on to showing you another way that you can do it for gifting. So stay tuned. Our first batch of fire starters are done. So this is what they should look like, y'all. But let me tell you, I learned a little lesson. You see how some of the wax did not overflow. It bled through the really inexpensive wrappers. So my suggestion would be to use two, or I'm going to switch over and use what I've always used, which is the Reynolds Baker's cups. So a little bit heavier. Let me swing you down here. So let's say you want to do some of these for a gift, because they are a great gift. You can actually either use colored candles, colored tapers, or whatsoever, or if you happen to have it on hand, I have the coloring for candles. Now, I don't know what the difference between that and food coloring is, or how food coloring would interact or react. So I can't speak to that. But if you have some colored candles, you could make it very pretty. If this is for, say, an outdoor enthusiast that you know loves just to have campfires for enjoyment, not for cooking, and it's going to be used outdoors, you absolutely could put some Scotch pine essential oil, very, very small amount, so you don't stink everybody out. But those would be nice options too if you wanted them to smell nice. So I'm going to try this now with the same process. I'm going to put down my aspen shavings. I'm going to put the wax in, but I'm going to do a green color, and these are actually for my son. I'm not going to scent them because he does hunt and you don't want that scent on your clothes, etc. But he will appreciate having them kind of pretty, and I'll show you how I'm going to store them and give you a couple ideas for packaging them for gifts. Stay tuned. Our fire starters are partially cooled, so let me give you a couple suggestions. This is how I like to store them in my pantry. So I just made a label. I took some scrapbook paper, it's kind of nature theme, and just put them in there. You don't have to cover them anything else. These are not cool yet. I did not put them in the freezer. I'm going to tell you, the metal for me works way better than the inexpensive Dollar General papers. But let me give you a couple ideas if you want to do some gifting. So I just took a little piece of scrap paper from my craft room, tied it around, put a little bow, and this is the, well, you can't really see the paper, so I guess it doesn't matter. But what, wrap 2 or 3, put them in a little box. What a lovely gift. These are great for Christmas time too. So you can do something kind of fancy, or, kind of go natural or rustic. I don't have newspaper, but I just use plain old twine and a little piece of scrap paper that was from a project, and I have a cute little gift. So let me stack these in here. We'll put the pretty ones on top. I did end up with 2 dozen, but I had wax left over. So what do? Well, I happen to have this little bitty jar. It's not a canning jar. It was a honey jar that I had gotten. So I just put the wax in there, and it's fine to remelt and use next time. Putting that paper down, y'all, is key. I could just roll it up and throw away the mess. So it was really nice. So it is about 20 till 11. I have a lot planned for today. So I'm going to take you along on a couple projects that I'm going to be working on. It's extremely muddy, so don't laugh, but I'm probably going to go barefoot because the mud weighs you down, and I always end up shucking my boots anyway. So what I would like to do, we're supposed to get rain tomorrow, is get my rain barrels set up and talk a little bit about water preparation in case there is an interruption in your water supply. So today is kind of all things prepping. We'll see how quickly I poop out. All right, stay tuned. It is an absolutely stunning day out here. It's 57 degrees. We're supposed to hit mid-60s. And I thought, well, I'm going to try to get a little outside work done. I want to share with you my daffodils up front got a little nipped, but I still have, oops, I got to turn around, don't I? Still have a lot. So I'm going to cut myself a large bouquet, and then I'm going to share with you how I set up my rain barrel and fire pit for the spring. And y'all, I'm not even going to apologize. My hair is going to be crazy, so just look at what I'm doing, but don't look at my hair. Some of you may be wondering, why do I struggle with a rain barrel if I'm on city water and, I don't have to worry about a well? And that is simply because my water is expensive, and I think it's a good use of our resources not to depend so much on public utilities. So right here, if you're interested in installing a rain barrel, this particular brand is called an OT, O-A-T-E-Y. And you can search on Amazon or place of your choice for a downspout diverter is what it is. So what happens is, if the rain comes down, I'm going to attach this hose to the nozzle. The problem is in the winter, it will freeze, make a big icicle, and break your OD. So I use handy dandy pink duct tape to keep it from happening. But what does happen is all the grit from shingles will accumulate, and it will clog your OD. All right. So I don't look so much like a girly girl, do I? What I do is attach the hose, and I'm a little short in the poop for this, but simply screw the hose on, and then the other end, you have a couple options. You can put a watering can in there on here and put this into the watering can, and let the watering can go through the screen, the filtering screen. I don't drink this water, and it's actually amazingly clean. I wouldn't want to drink it without purifying it, but I can then water my garden with 5-gallon buckets. But guys, it's definitely spring. You kind of look out the window and you see your pretty daffodils, and then you look at this. Oh my word, guys, I'm ashamed to even show you. I don't know what that is. A weed. So I'm gonna get busy, and I'm gonna pull a lot of these weeds, and the planter, I need to cut those things back as well. And I brought gloves, but do you think I've used them? No. So I'm gonna get busy pulling weeds, so I think I'll speed myself up a little bit. And this is real life, guys. Even when you just have a home, not necessarily homestead, but as you get ready for your planting spaces, there is a lot to do. So what do I grow in there? I grow herbs that I can use for soap making and other things, teas, etc. So this is an important addition to my garden space. So I do want to keep it clear. So here we go. I got to take my glove off. Get started. This tree is loaded with blooms, but it is also loaded with honeybees, and they are just going to town. I have a very large bee population after being a beekeeper for so long, so let me flip the camera around and I'll show you what they're doing. I should have my sunglasses on, shouldn't I? As I pulled so far 15 gallons, 3 5-gallon buckets of the weeds, and I'm not done in this little area. I had a thought, and I thought, I'm just gonna sit down and share what's on my heart. So these times can be really frightening, and I'm going to be the first to tell you all, I've had my moments where I haven't panicked, but I've had some fear, and the feeling of, am I doing enough? And as I was pulling this very strange weed, which I'm still not sure what this is, but it's very prevalent, these are super hard to get out. And then the one that was sticking up with the little flowers was super easy. And I can tell you there was not a single weed in this gravel, and I don't use any chemicals. I will sometimes make a solution for, like with Epsom salts and dish soap, you know, to kill weeds, but normally I just pull them. And I thought, where did all these weeds come from? Why are they so persistent? Why are they so resilient? And then I stopped and I thought, you know, I'm doing this because I want to be resilient and I want to be persistent. And I want to do the best I can with what I have, produce as much food as I possibly can. I have this feeling like this has to be the most epic garden ever because of what's going on. But in actuality, guys, it just needs to be the best that I can do. And I think I watch Patera over at Appalachia Homestead with Patera, and she always says, stay busy, stay busy. And I get it. You know, if we just keep on persevering, if we're resilient when we have setbacks, I'm just going to tell you, why haven't I showed my seedlings? Because they didn't do well and I had to replant a lot, and some of them are teeny weeny, and I hope I can buy plants at the nursery, which I should be able to locally, but we shall see. I try to go local, support local. But you know, brand new seeds failed. Well, I replanted, and by golly, they're coming up, and that's either operator error on my part or a percentage. Not all of them, even on the second planting, came up. So I just want to encourage you. You don't have to do everything I do. I don't do everything the big, true homesteading channels that are producing all their own meat, that have these massive gardens, but do what you can. Be resilient. You know, at 61, one thing I'm finally learning, it isn't to relax or sleep well, unfortunately, but I'm learning that all of those skills that I have in my life have been really helpful right now. Some of them may have seemed more like a hobby at the time, but I'm glad I have the skills. I tried to capture, and I don't think I could because the birds are loud. Y'all, this tree sounds like a hive. This tree. It sounds like a healthy beehive. So bees have to live somewhere, and they may swarm. I have 2 beehives that I can set up in a heartbeat. I know how to catch a swarm. I know how to tend bees, and I could have perhaps a supply of honey. So all of those skills are really important. Learn, spend some time learning every day. One of the things I just did, and it was an investment, but it's a good investment, was I ordered the entire 14-volume Foxfire series. Amazon has it today, 26% off. There are only 2 left, I will tell you that, according to Amazon. I tried going out on Abe Books and some of the used bookstores to build it. I couldn't. So, you know, do I need to know how to build a log cabin? Well, not today, but there are a lot of skills in there. So keep learning. Go to the library if ordering books is not your thing or it's not affordable for you. But don't stop learning just because you've reached a point in your life where you're established in your job or perhaps even retired like I am. Just keep on persevering. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to go put on some more sunscreen. Y'all, I do not want to get a sunburn. That's why I'm wearing long sleeves. I'm trying not to. And a lot of you always ask, what does your shirt say? So this one's kind of a funny one, especially the way I look today. It says, I live for fashion. So this is an old LuLaRoe shirt that I don't care gets ruined in whatever, you know. So yeah, today I don't live for fashion. You know what I live for? Resilience and perseverance. So I hope that was an encouraging message. I need to keep going. I want to work on my veggie pot a little bit and show you all where I am with that. And pull some more weeds. I did get my Adirondack chairs out. I have my fire pit out. So if something unforeseen happens, I now have fire starters, I have plenty of wood, and I have a place to cook food. So that's exciting. I also have my grill. I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to challenge my back. It's super heavy to lug it from the little outbuilding up on the deck. It's kind of on its last leg. I'm not sure it's going to work this year, if I'm going to need to replace it. You guys, it's always something. All right, I will see you shortly with our next project. Stay tuned. So before we start on the veggie pod, I did want to do a little work in my compost bin. I've been pretty unhappy with the outcome of my compost bin, and after doing a little research, I discovered, and as you see, there's a ton of, well, it's decomposed pretty good down in there. Wow. Okay, maybe I'm not as disappointed, but it's good to, you know, stir things around with the pitchfork, give it a good stir. And one of the things I learned is I'm not putting enough green. I have too much brown. So I did purchase from Azure some compost starter, and it says 2 tablespoons per cubic yard, which to me sounds like wah, 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 wah. And just sprinkle it over. And what this has is beneficial bacteria and fungi to help break down your compost pile a little better. So I'm gonna go with about 3 tablespoons as a guess. Rinse my hand off here. So this is actually going to last quite some time, but I want to be treating it. And then you want to water it in. And I've had this compost bin for a lot of years. I've been very, very pleased with it. One of the things I really like is it does have a locking lid that latches. Get it latched here. There we go. So it is raccoon proof. I have a lot of raccoons, I have a lot of skunk, and a ton of bunnies. But it's primarily the raccoons that will get into the compost bin. And then when you're ready to harvest the compost, the door is at the bottom, so you're not having to dig and shovel out from a high height. So it is very convenient that way. So we're going to work on getting some really good compost this year. And let me share with you guys, I'm not going to be working in or on the garden today. My frost-free date this year is well into May. So let me just give you a little peekaboo of the garden. I'm having trouble doing this. So I weeded everything, and that's my winter garlic in that bed. Am I doing that right? No. That bed. Okay. So I will be pulling these weeds, but this year I'm going to remineralize my soil, plus I will be adding some raised bed soil. My fence obviously needs attention. The squirrels, when you see the little holes in the straw, that's where the squirrels are. I have already ordered 2 bales of straw for my paths. And then over here in the very back, these 2 metal are my new beds. I'm super excited to get those planted. So they are 4x8. So in effect, it's like adding 4 of these beds. So I more than by 50% increased my growing space, which I think this year is going to be very important. So we'll have some videos on getting the garden started, prepping the soil, but that's not an activity I want to do today. So let's get up and go work on our veggie pod. So we're over here at the veggie pod, and much to my surprise, guys, I've had a terrible time growing chives. I have a pretty good amount of chives, so we're going to leave those alone. Right here, and it's hard to see, but it's restarting, is English thyme. Now, normally anything that's going to repopulate on its own, I'm going to be super happy about, but I have to tell you, I definitely disliked at the time. It was extremely menthol to me. So I'm going to take this out. I'm going to look for any signs of life on my oregano. If you can see in here, my sage is starting to regrow, so we'll give this a big haircut. Rosemary's definitely dead. Basil's definitely dead. And then in this area, I'm probably going to go ahead and plant some lettuce so I will have something to eat on until I plant some more herbs. So this is going to feed me, and I can constantly be planting lettuce, spinach, all kinds of greens to eat. The dirt still looks really, really good. Honestly, I'm not sure what this is back here. So I'm gonna leave that because I don't think it's a weed. I just can't remember, to be honest. I need to do a better job diagramming. So let's get busy here, get this all cleaned up, and then I'll show you what seeds I'm gonna be planting. So the seeds that I'm going to be planting is Marvel of Four Seasons lettuce, and there are actually 500 seeds in here, so I don't want to overcrowd because I will be putting other herbs. I just want a small area. And this says an old French heirloom originally introduced commercially in 1885. It's a lettuce grown for both its exceptional beauty and versatility. The ample heads produce tight rosettes of thick, crisp leaves that are deep green tipped with red. Four Seasons is absolutely one of the best eating varieties anywhere and is heat tolerant, but lettuce grows best in the 60s. Press seeds into soil but do not cover. So I am going to plant a small amount right here where I have amended the soil with some additional soil, and definitely have growth going on my garden sage, so I'm excited about that. So I know these are teeny tiny seeds, so let's get a few out and bring it over here. And y'all, one of the reasons I did want to show you this, yeah, they're pretty tiny, is even if you only have containers, this could easily be grown in containers. I'm probably gonna have enough lettuce for the universe, but that's okay, right? I eat a lot of salad, so we'll think of it that way. My doctor will be happy. I'm gonna plant a little tiny bit here, and then we'll go back and press it into the soil. Give it a real light water. And in 45 to 55 days, we'll have full heads of lettuce. So let's kind of go lightly from above. The soil's pretty moist. I've been hardening off what overwintered by leaving this open. Let's give this a good water. And our chives. And I will put this to bed tonight when it starts getting late and the temperatures start to drop by simply closing the cover. So love my veggie pod, good investment for me. So before we close for the day, I just wanted to show you that my onions are doing well. My cayenne red hots are finally up. I've done the second planting of my jack-o'-lanterns. I have one. I have a lot of Roma tomatoes, jalapenos, and pie pumpkins. So those are all doing very well. And then finally, over here, I have my AeroGarden. So this is hydroponic. And these are yellow cherry tomatoes. So they are progressing. I just had some early on failures. I don't know about you all, but I'm pooped. This was a full day. I hope you've enjoyed this day in the life. Drop me a comment below. Are these videos kind of interesting to you, or is it too much in one video? Do you like a concentrated topic? That really helps me out to know what you enjoy the most. So I will share with you, I've got some exciting things coming up. Every time I think of an idea, I have a place that I write it down. So stay tuned for more exciting gardening, something brand new, some freeze drying, just all sorts of things. And always, if there's something you would like me to talk about, please drop me a comment on that as well. I hope you've smashed that like button. I hope you've hit subscribe and rang that bell to be notified of all the new videos. And let's see, this will air on, y'all, I don't even know what day it is. Thursday. So you'll be seeing this on Thursday. I will be at Mom's auction all day. So I will see you again on Saturday. And until then, be well, be healthy, be blessed, and I'm going to hit the shower. Take care.